Good morning. President Salovey, Provost Polak, Faculty of Arts and Sciences Dean Gendler, Graduate School Dean Cooley, the officers of the university, the heads and deans of the residential colleges, and the deans and members of the Yale College Dean's Office, all join me in welcoming you to Yale. We have been waiting a long time to meet you, and we are glad that you are finally here. I want to extend my welcome to the family members and friends who are here today. It is thanks to your support and guidance that Yale has the privilege of hosting these impressive young adults. Class of 2021, across the entire 316-year history of Yale College, you are absolutely the greatest. In number. You are arriving at Yale at one of its most exciting moments. 2 new colleges are opening their gates for the first time. One is being rededicated, and magnificent new spaces to support undergraduate life have recently opened. The campus is alive with activity, and it is waiting for you to explore it. I've been a teacher and researcher in psychology and neuroscience at Yale for 17 years, and a college head for 9 of those years. But this is my first year as Dean of Yale College, so like you, I'm gaining new opportunities and responsibilities. Like you, I'm eager to build on what I know and enjoy while exploring novel ideas and pursuits. President Salovey has set Yale to be the research university most committed to teaching and learning. This means that my job as dean is to ensure that you have the best possible experiences both inside and outside of the classroom at Yale. And to help get you started, I would like to share with you some wisdom that I have gained from your predecessors. In college, you will discover, if you haven't already, that your biggest challenge is that there are too many things to try and too little time to do everything. You'll soon be getting a lot of advice about time management and how to make choices. To start, my first suggestion is to slow down. Take things one at a time. So let me ask you a question. When you study, how many of you can concentrate on your work for hours without checking your phone or your social media accounts or your email? Don't be shy. Raise your hand if you fall in that category. I see. Thank you for your honesty. If you're like most people, you multitask. You might juggle lots of things at once because you think you have to, because you're so busy, or because you think it makes you more efficient. It's true that multitasking is possible, but research shows that it comes at a severe cost. Let me demonstrate. If you look inside your program, you'll find an insert, and we'll be using this insert during my address. Look in the middle at demo number 1, the first line of numbers. Half of these numbers are black, half are outlined white. And your task, starting from the left, is to look at each number in the line, check its color. If the number is black, add 7 to the number and whisper out the answer, and then move on to the next number. You're going to do this as quickly as possible. If the number is white, you're going to be subtracting 7 from that number and moving on to the next number. So we want you to go as fast as you can. This is your QR test. And when you're done with a row, with the 8 numbers, you can snap your fingers like that so I can hear when people are done. And I encourage the students to finish more quickly than the people up in the balcony. All right, so here we go. We're just doing demo number 1, starting with that first number. And here we go. Go. Okay, main floor is winning. Great. Excellent. Okay. Now go to demo number 2. You're doing the exact same thing. If the number is black, add 7. If the number is white, subtract 7. Go as fast as you can and snap at the end. Ready, go. Okay, so thank you. Yeah, we're done. People haven't had their coffee yet. The second demo, the point, of course, is that the second demo, I hope, felt a little bit harder, despite having had a little practice. And this second line, that second demo, is a simulation of multitasking and task switching, which is required when you're trying to do more than one thing at a time. And compared to doing the same problems, and compared to focusing on the same task at a time, if we measured your performance properly using a timer, we would have found that people are about 30% slower and about 30% less accurate. You make about 30% more errors in the second version than the first version if we had you do this for a longer period of time. If I were to scan your brain while you were multitasking, while you were doing the second demo, compared to the first one, I will find that your brain is actually physically working harder to switch back and forth to multitask compared to when you were doing just one task at a time. It's almost like switching back and forth between tasks is like putting on a heavy backpack, while you're running. You're burdening yourself. So my simple, practical first suggestion for maximizing your study time is to turn off your phones and social media alerts while you study. It's not like I want you to turn those off altogether. Please do reward yourself by promising to check maybe once an hour, once every 75 minutes. But try to drop the burdensome load of multitasking and focus on the task in front of you. Time management is a key to success at a busy place like Yale. I have a second suggestion, and let me demonstrate again using the insert in your program. Look at the image at the top and name out loud what you see. Okay, so we're hearing different things. How many of you saw a duck? Okay, good. You lower your hand. How many saw a rabbit? Good. Okay, look around. Everyone has different answers here. How many of you can see it both ways now? Oh, wow. Excellent. Wow. They can graduate. This simple demonstration shows a fundamental principle of psychology. We all experience the world differently. Our perceptual interpretations, our memories, and our thoughts are all constructs of the mind, and they differ across people, even when we're considering the same object or event. Most situations in life have multiple valid interpretations, and in order to best confront such ambiguity, we must learn to see other perspectives. And for that, we must have an open mind and appreciate the different interpretations around us. Yale values these differences because they are everywhere in the world. And in order to become good citizens and leaders of this world, we need to be comfortable with difference. Not just to accept it or tolerate it, but to insist on it, whether it's political, cultural, ethnic, or skill-based. Yale needs to be a place where you feel comfortable to listen and to speak up, both inside and outside of the classroom. A goal of this fabulous liberal arts education that awaits you is not just to give you knowledge, but the ability to analyze new problems from multiple angles. You need to see both the duck and the rabbit, and I see that you already know how to. Finally, look at demo number 3 at the bottom of the page, and you see a bunch of letters which form a code. And my question to you is, what code does this signify? And if you think you guessed, you can raise your hand, although I won't call on you. Okay, here's the answer. The letters are my first year grades in college. Thank you. That was very affirmative, thank you. And I can finally accept my grades now. My first year GPA was around 2.9 out of 4.0. As a budding psychology major, I took 2 terms of Introduction to Psychology, which is what I teach here at Yale. My first term grade in Intro Psych was a B, while my second term grade was a C. One of the C's you see there. At Yale, I'm grateful to have an award for teaching excellence in the social sciences, a course in which I earned a grade of D. By the way, I showed President Salovey these grades after I was appointed dean. And he warmly assured me that I can keep my job. But we both agreed that I should clarify that I am not advocating that you get such grades here at Yale. So parents, you can be assured. The immediate question, of course, is how did I go from grades like these to getting full fellowship offers for PhD training at MIT and Stanford? I chose MIT, postdoctoral training at Harvard, a professorship with tenure at Yale, where I was fortunate to become an award-winning teacher and researcher, a college head, and now dean. One quick answer is that I am resilient, I did not give up, and I worked hard. I'm not showing you my subsequent grades because they're mostly just A's. That said, my overall GPA was still low, and my point is that you can't summarize your college experience with a number. I hope that you will start to define your time at Yale differently than you may have in the past, now in a richer, more holistic way. Will you find courses and activities about which you feel passionate, in which you are creative and effective, from which you can contribute meaningfully to others around you? Now, here's the biggest reason that I was able to recover from these first-year grades. I was blessed with outstanding mentors. I found generous friends with whom I exchanged notes and formed a study group. I looked up to an impressive graduate student, teaching fellow, who is now one of my closest friends. And most important, an inspiring faculty member took me under his wing after seeing something in me that I couldn't see in myself. Professor Chun encouraged my studies and gave me research opportunities, and he successfully supported me for fellowships and for graduate school. And even beyond school, I have had terrific mentors throughout my career. Most important is my wife of 21 years, Yale professor Woo Kyung-an, without whom I would definitely not be standing here today. And even moving forward in my role as dean, I will be relying on an exceptional cohort of mentors, many sitting right behind me. So thank you. As you navigate your way around Yale, my final suggestion to you is to find your mentors. They are everywhere. Yale has already designated several faculty members eager to help you, your college head, your college dean, your college advisor. When you start taking classes, your professors will want to get to know you, but you need to take the first step of lingering after class, going to office hours, or asking good questions over email. If you're active in a cultural center, the dean and directors could be your mentor. If you're playing a sport for Yale, you have coaches. Whether you're religious or not, our chaplains are eager to guide you. If you're working, as we hope you do, during your extracurricular time and summers, your supervisor may teach you as much as you would learn from any class. In addition, you all have a first-year counselor eager to help your transition. Don't underestimate the value of your FROCO with Yale-specific experience and training. Helpful peer liaisons will also be joining your Yale student mentorship team. An important benefit of having a good mentor is that it makes you a good teacher and example to others. Mentoring others is a form of service that pays forward. Sharing your experience and talents is how you will make leading contributions to society in every career path. Not just friends around your age, but you can even teach those more experienced than you. Some of my best mentors have been my students. So remember this day as an opportunity to appreciate all the mentoring you've received so far, not just from your instructors, but from the parents and family, teachers, coaches, supervisors, and friends who have been part of your journey, some of them here with you today. As you take your first steps in this new place, I hope you will join me in applauding them as they applaud you. Congratulations again and welcome to Yale.
Good morning and welcome to my colleagues here on the stage, to the family members who are here with us today, and most of all, to the class of 2021. I want to give a special shout out to Marvin Chun, who is beginning his first year as the new dean of Yale College, and I know you all enjoyed his remarks just as much as I did. To Marvin Chun. A few years ago, I helped a friend, a member of the Yale College class of 1982, in fact. I helped him teach a Yale College seminar called Great Big Ideas. Each week, students in the seminar considered a big idea from a different field of study. For homework, they watched video lectures delivered by various experts and read primary sources. Then they came to the class ready to debate each week's big idea. By the end of the course, they had become conversant in major debates and questions in art history, political philosophy, evolutionary biology, and other fields as well. My friend described the educational impact of the course as a mile wide and an inch deep. I was thinking about great big ideas over the summer. Reflecting on the goal for the course reminded me of the story of the fox and the hedgehog. Now, this is a distinction attributed to Archilochus, the 7th century BC Greek poet and warrior, who said, "A fox knows many things, but a hedgehog one important thing." A fox knows many things, but a hedgehog one important thing. When threatened, the fox remains flexible, coming up with a clever way to deal with the particular matter at hand. The hedgehog, however, responds the same way to every threat. It rolls up into a ball. The fox is wily and resilient. The hedgehog, consistent but inflexible. The philosopher Isaiah Berlin popularized this distinction in a 1953 essay. Berlin described the hedgehog as a thinker who sees the world through a single grand idea, a focused lens. Someone like Karl Marx or Ayn Rand might be considered a hedgehog. The fox, on the other hand, becomes knowledgeable about many different things. It draws on a multitude of ideas and experiences, depending on the situation at hand. Perhaps Confucius and Aristotle are best described as foxes. As Berlin says, there exists a great chasm between those on one side who relate everything to a single vision, a single universal organizing principle, the hedgehogs, and those who pursue many ends, often unrelated and even contradictory, connected, if at all, in some de facto way. These are the foxes. This dichotomy is obviously an oversimplification, as Berlin himself recognized. I'm actually reminded of an old joke about there being two kinds of psychologists: those who believe that humanity can be divided into two types of people and those who do not. In any case, the story of the fox and the hedgehog may help you today, right now, as you consider how to approach your time at Yale. Your education in Yale College will expose you to some grand ideas that may seem compelling as unifying life philosophies. You will learn about and from some brilliant hedgehogs and brilliant foxes. But at this stage of your education, I want to urge you to emulate the fox. As inspired as you might be by a single idea or way of looking at the world, I suggest that you entertain many different ways of thinking and consider various points of view. Try them all on. See what fits you best. The beauty of a liberal education, the education that Yale College offers, is that it liberates you from having to pursue a narrow, vocationally oriented program of study. I hope you will take advantage of and enjoy this intellectual freedom. You will be able to choose from a wide variety of courses, learning about how people in many different fields think and understand the world. Your professors will introduce you to a panoply of ideas and ask you to think critically about all of them. You will be expected to question conventional orthodoxies rather than subscribe to a single view of the world. This work will be challenging, have no doubt, but it will also be exhilarating and, yes, liberating. There'll be plenty of time later to hone your focus, to specialize and develop your expertise. Perhaps you'll decide to pursue a doctorate or attend professional school. And there may even be times here at Yale College when you will delve deeply into a certain topic for a paper or a project. When I received my graduate education here at Yale, for example, there were times when I had to be a hedgehog. Hedgehogs, too, have many fine qualities. But over the years, I have loved seeing generations of Yale College students embrace the opportunity to think broadly and study widely. You will also develop as flexible thinkers and clear communicators. These fox-like attributes will serve you well no matter what you do after graduation. In fact, there are good reasons to believe that learning to think like a fox may play important dividends. As many of you know, I'm a psychologist, and my research and teaching have focused in the field of social psychology. And there's a social psychologist named Philip Tetlock at the University of Pennsylvania who has studied the ability of foxes versus hedgehogs, the human kind, to predict and prepare for the future. Tetlock completed his doctoral work here at Yale in our Department of Psychology, by the way. Tetlock's research is focused on political judgment, the accuracy with which politicians, experts, pundits, and others predict outcomes in the world, and how various actions might affect these outcomes. So, for example, would a hardline foreign policy by the United States with respect to North Korea weaken Chairman Kim's ironclad grip on that country? Yes or no? How likely? Will President Assad's regime in Syria fall in the next year? Yes or no? How likely? Tetlock studied 284 prognosticators, experts who are paid to offer answers to questions in which they must predict the future about various world events. He analyzed 82,361 probability estimates made by these individuals in response to 27,450 forecasting questions, studying as well how they came to these judgments and how they reacted when they were wrong, whether they revised their forecasts in response to new evidence. He found that specialists in making predictions about such situations are about as accurate as you or I would be. Consider that. Highly trained, well-paid experts are no more likely to be correct when predicting future events than ordinary people. Well-established talking heads are worst of all. They often stubbornly and overconfidently adhere to their original theories, the ideas most associated with them, even in the face of overwhelming evidence that they are wrong. Like hedgehogs, they stick with the point of view that made them famous and are dismissive of new information that contradicts their beliefs. They roll up into a ball. However, Tetlock did find some individuals who were better at predicting the future. As he describes them, these are thinkers who know many small things, tricks of the trade. They are skeptical of grand schemes, and they are willing to stitch together diverse sources of information. Perhaps most important, they are not overly confident in their own forecasting prowess. In other words, they are humble, critical, well-informed, and flexible thinkers. In short, they are foxes. Foxes are the best prognosticators. So, what does the fox say? So you're going to explain to your parents what that was all about, right? That was between us and 680 million people who have viewed that YouTube video. The fox says, fox doesn't say Heidi-ho and what he says on the video. What the fox says is, I want to listen carefully, engage, explore, use my natural curiosity, and perhaps in the end, outwit the others. Foxes don't get information only from sources with which they agree. When confronted by contrary ideas, the fox says, "Bring it on." Foxes are resilient, and they not only respond better to challenges, they may even be able to predict what challenges they will face down the road better than their hedgehog friends. All around us, we are surrounded by foxes who have shaped our lives and our world. In the last few days, some of you moved into one of Yale's 2 new residential colleges, Pauli Murray or Benjamin Franklin. I'm thrilled that we can offer a Yale College education to 15% more students in each cohort, starting with you, the class of 2021. And it's amazing how lovely and Yale-like the new colleges are. And yes, you can still create Gothic architecture in 2017. Others of you are the first to live as freshmen in Grace Hopper College. You are also part of something new and exciting. Benjamin Franklin, Pauli Murray, Grace Hopper are 3 new college namesakes. They share some common attributes. All 3 were curious individuals who never stopped learning new things. And all of them were exemplary foxes. It's probably obvious to you that Ben Franklin had a fox-like intellect. He drew upon it as an inventor, a statesman, a writer. His response to seemingly insurmountable challenges: invent something. And so Franklin, witnessing the destructive power of electricity, develops the lightning rod, has difficulty seeing both near and far in middle age, and so invents bifocals. Needs a source of indoor heating less smoky than a fireplace, and therefore builds what we now call the Franklin stove. And I don't even want to know what problem he was trying to solve when he invented the flexible catheter. As a diplomat, Franklin's contributions to international relations were characterized less by ideology, the Hedgehog's approach, and more by flexible statesmanship, a fox-like strategy. He gained the support of France for the cause of American independence by articulating Enlightenment ideas to an appreciative audience, endearing himself and his insights to his French counterparts. Moreover, Franklin was perfectly willing to change his mind, as evidenced by his embrace of the abolitionist cause later in his life. 2 centuries hence, Pauli Murray arrived at Yale to complete a doctorate in law. By this point, she was already an accomplished attorney and civil rights pioneer. When Murray was at Yale, her friend, Eleanor Roosevelt, tapped her to serve on the President's Commission on the Status of Women. It was during this time that Murray developed the novel approach of using the 14th Amendment to combat sex discrimination, doing the research to support her ideas right here in Sterling Library. Legal scholars up until that time had viewed this amendment as providing due process and equal protection under the law, regardless of race, religion, or heritage. But Murray saw it as another path. She saw in it another path for the advancement of civil rights. A short time later, while working on her thesis in New Haven, Murray wrote a memorandum that helped ensure the inclusion of protections on the basis of sex in the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Pauli Murray was many things: a poet, writer, an attorney, a legal scholar, an advocate for racial justice, and one of the founders of the National Organization for Women. She never stopped learning or trying new things. At age 62, she entered the General Theological Seminary in New York, and 3 years later became the first African-American woman to be ordained as an Episcopal priest. Throughout her life, she listened, learned, and adapted to new challenges with astonishing success. Finally, Admiral Grace Hopper. She epitomizes the fox's flexible intellect. She received her PhD in mathematics from Yale, and after Pearl Harbor, she enlisted in the Navy, where she was assigned to work on one of the world's first computers. Although her preparation in mathematics was important, Hopper had to think beyond what she had learned in school. Yale had not taught her to be a computer scientist. In fact, the profession didn't really even exist yet. But she had learned to think and solve problems. Hopper loved to say, the most damaging words in the English language are, "It's always been done that way." So a lifelong maverick, Grace Hopper relied on her curiosity and her willingness to take risks. And in the process, she transformed the way we use computers, influencing all our lives. Members of the class of 2021, I'm proud and delighted that you will be able to pursue an education here at Yale. Like Franklin, Murray, Hopper, and a host of other foxes, you will develop your intellect in broad and flexible ways. You will learn to be careful thinkers, suspicious of easy answers and received wisdom. You will hone these skills so that you may work effectively with others. In the words of Yale's mission statement, you will work with others to improve the world today and for future generations. I know that you will experience great pleasure in becoming foxes yourselves. And so I congratulate you, class of 2021, and welcome you to Yale.
My beloved Yale family, as we ready ourselves to step out onto new ground in this daunting yet inspiring liminal space of the unknown next, we begin a poignant turn of goodbyes and hellos that invite laughter, tears, challenge, choice, discovery, and pride. Let us go forth with deep trust in certain knowledge that this splendid place welcomes each one of us, that love surrounds us, that beauty can surprise us, that truth and light awaits us. On this day and every day forward, may all that is holy shine upon us and tenderly bless our every breath. May we go in shalom, in salam, in shanti. May we go in peace. Let us begin.